9/11 is just around the corner. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the attack. We cannot afford to forget what happened. It pains me that some of the families of our fallen cannot afford to live with dignity. Join me and support the Master Phil Push-Up Challenge starting on August 11th. I'll be doing 1,000 push-ups a day for 25 days via live streams. All donations go directly to Tunnels to Towers. Use the link or the QR code. Give what you can for those who gave all. Full information is in the verbiage. Thank you. Strength and honor. The Master Phil in Your Corner podcast is brought to you by philross.com, the home site of Master Phil Industries, books, presentations, virtual training, supplements, and products, including the Back Better Bar, strengthen your back and bulletproof your shoulders, the Body Bell Method, the world's only kettlebell, bodyweight, and dynamic tension system, providing continuing education credits for trainers, coaches, doctors of physical therapy, and chiropractors. Be sure to check out our new app, Master Phil Kettlebells, on the App Store. Thank you for your patronage. Greetings and welcome to another episode of Master Phil in Your Corner. This is episode number 163, and today we have a special guest, Dr. Eugene Antonucci.
You got it.
Even though my surname doesn't show it, I am of Italian heritage. So they messed with the vowels at the end of my name. So, our guest has a very special background, starting off as a dentist and then took it to the next level and went totally into wellness with his dental and medical background. Gene, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's really fun being here.
Awesome. Glad you're having a good time. So, tell us about your journey, because reading your background, seeing what you've gone through, seeing how you've morphed and you've grown and expanded. Please.
Well, I've been in practice dentistry for 45 years now. I graduated in 1983 from NYU, and for the first 20 years of my practice, things went great. But as you develop a patient, your patient load, and you get to know these people up close and personal over a long period of time, you begin to see changes that aren't so great in people's health. People that were once younger, and we were all aging, but younger and healthier, ended up having the same types of metabolic diseases and conditions. They start to gain a little bit of weight, then they're on the obese side of life, or they have diabetes, pre-diabetes, diabetes, cardiac conditions, cancers, the whole stress out the window, all of the things that go along with it. And I see it not in one person, but in many people. Maybe look at myself, maybe look in the mirror. And
Sure.
looking in the mirror, I say, you know what? You're a 45-year-old guy now. You're 25 pounds overweight. What's going on here? Little by little by little, it creeps up. And you still look good, and you still think of yourself as looking good, but something's not right. And you go to the doctor, and he tells you are pre-diabetic. You don't have diabetes, but your blood sugar is higher than it was. And my blood sugar was never I was never pre anything. And then you go and your blood pressure is a little bit elevated, and you say, you know what, it's time for a change. And that was a turning point in pretty much in my life. And I took a good hard look at myself and say, well, what has to change? And I started studying, and I started understanding really what health is about. We learn these. I'm a healthcare practitioner,
Yes.
and I'm dealing with health all the time, but I started really understanding, or beginning a journey to understand, put it that way, what nutrition is about, and what
Yes.
health is about, what exercise really means, and all of the things that make up health. And that took me to a study of longevity and looking at blue zone countries. You're familiar with blue zones, I'm sure.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
areas in the world where people live over 100 more than anywhere else. And from my Italian background, there's a blue zone area in Italy, and doing study and research, I found that Italy itself has a higher level of centenarians with lower levels of cardiac disease and obesity, and you think they're eating pasta all the time and eating pizza and all this stuff, but their levels, and they smoke like crazy too, but
Yeah.
their levels of health are higher where they have higher levels of centenarians than anywhere. So it led me to writing a book on that subject, and I've written a couple of different books,
Mhm.
but I went down this path of health, wellness, and longevity, and this thinking has kind of evolved over time, and it's going in now another direction within that whole realm. But that's really where I'm at. I became a certified health fitness coach.
Mhm.
And I figured, why don't I just officially help my patients in a different format or help them with more knowledge and background behind me? So that's my journey.
You know what? Like we were talking before, I've seen that you're not the only, healthcare medical professional who has actually adopted this approach, where you're actually looking at, as opposed to just treating an illness, you're looking at health and
Yep.
creating health.
Yes.
And how do we get there? Is it exercise? Is it food? Is it rest? Is it a combination? Is it supplements? How do we get there? Because look, everybody's chasing that holy grail, right? We all want that fountain of youth. We want to feel better, look better. I'm of the opinion that there are some simple axioms that you cannot avoid. The thing is that, what you're putting into your system
Yep.
and what type of working out are you doing? Are you working out? Are you moving? We have to
Yep.
move. You look at the people in Italy, they're walking around, they're moving, they're doing a lot more. We sit, and, I actually wrote an article on sitting is the new smoking.
It's very true. Really true.
So
Really true.
if you see right now, I'm sitting on a physio
Yeah,
ball.
yeah, so you're moving. You're
I
moving.
hope I don't
Yeah.
make you seasick.
Oh, you're moving. That's good. That's a good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Good thing your camera's not moving with you
I
because
know.
makes it dizzy. Now, all these things are so important. That's part of what I looked at, and part of my writings and work is dealing with looking at what is it that we need to do to change. And we all know these. We've been told eat better, exercise, and all this stuff.
Mhm.
But you look at a country like Italy, because it's easy for me because my dad was born there.
Yeah.
I'm culturally Italian, and I grew up in two different worlds. I'm a first generation in this country, so second, whatever, but yeah, first
I'm
generation in this
second.
country.
You're,
So
you're sorry.
yeah, yeah. So my dad was born there, so I'm born here. So you look at it and you say, well, what are they doing differently? And they don't go to the gym. They don't. The gym memberships are here in Italy.
Mhm.
Here in the United States, obesity is here in Italy, and it's here in the United States. So there's a disconnect somewhere. Eating, they eat. I went on a very, very low carb, almost a keto type diet in the beginning to
Mhm.
break myself from the sugar
Mhm. Mhm.
addiction, which is
Mhm.
really what it was,
Yes.
and change my way of eating.
Mhm.
But they don't have a problem with the carbs, and why? There's a number of reasons why, but they eat whole foods, so there's whole foods that are not processed, and the oils are olive oil mostly, and they're not processed oils or
Right.
seed oils. So there's that part, and they have community. They have people of supporting them. From you could walk down the street and you'll see the father holding the son's hand, and on the other arm is the grandfather, and the other arm is the great grandmother, all walking down the street. Families are together, and family and community is such a big part of health. And then there's a spiritual purpose side of life, which is also important. And these are all blue zone characteristics, but that's how I apply. So my thinking has gone to the point where, you know what? There's no magic pill. There's no one way. We're looking for the holy grail of health. There's no one way. It's health isn't something that we pursue. It's something that we live. And when we get it in our mind that our life is what's important, and our life is better. We can keep ourselves alive with medicines until we're 90 or whatever, but
Mhm.
we're walking around with a walker or with tennis balls, and our back is bent, and we're not living a vital, healthy life. So to do that, that's what I want to live to be 100 plus, but I want to be vital at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, and it's really pursuing life instead of pursuing health. And
Mhm.
health will come when you pursue life properly. That's really how I view things right now.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a difference between living and existing.
Ex for sure.
I want to live. I want to do
Yep.
everything like I look at Jack LaLanne,
Right.
somebody like that. I mean, the guy died at 96. He's still doing push-ups. I think that he did three push-ups after he was dead. He goes, "Yeah, I'm just gonna finish the set." The guy was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's living. That's not existing. You see somebody walking down the street, you said, all hunched over in a walker. What's the
That's
quality of
God
life?
bless you're alive, but
Yeah,
there's got to be a better way,
yeah,
we rely on, so I deal with so many people that say, I got diagnosed with diabetes, but I'm going to take medicine and I'll be fine.
yeah,
So that's our mentality. I'm overweight, I'm going to take a shot and I'll be fine.
yeah.
I am, I'm depressed, so I'm going to take a pill, so I'm going to
Yep.
be happy. You know, good. Those are good steps, but that's not life.
Yeah.
And and there is a better way.
Yes. I mean, the things we have to adopt a lifestyle change,
Yes.
and that starts in your mind. What
Yes.
is your mind prepared to do? If you're addicted to sugar, like many of us get, it's very difficult to control the mind because your dopamine receptors are just going to,
They're just going, yeah. You
yeah,
know what I found? I heard this recently, that our ancient our ancestors from way, way, way back, like Homo sapiens sapiens, going back
yeah,
200,000 years,
yeah,
we're only 1% different in DNA than they were. So if you picture their lives were running away from animals so they wouldn't be eaten, and they're running after animals so they could have dinner, and they're lifting logs to build their huts, and they're carrying their kids and migrating. So their lives were very different. And they in our genes is this need to immediately gratify and get that dopamine hit, because you need food. You see food there, you're going to eat it till you're done, until there's no carcass left.
right.
We have those genes. So it's not, don't beat yourself up. I tell people, don't beat yourself up because you see a pile of ice cream and a pile of meat, and you got to finish a plate that you see. You're at a buffet table, you got to fill your plate to the roof. Don't feel bad that you're a sloth, or you're just following what your genes are.
Hmm.
But our brains have changed where we have the ability to filter, and our lives have changed where we don't need to eat everything because our next meal is coming probably in 15 minutes or
Yeah,
20 minutes or a half hour. And
yeah.
we don't have to wait for the fruit to grow on the trees. We could go to the supermarket, buy anything. And that's every part of it. So we go after these dopamine hits, and
Hmm.
food is a dopamine hit.
Yep.
Sugar definitely is, and more sugar, you need more sugar, you want more sugar. You know,
The thing that wired us for survival is actually wiring us for early death and
yes.
disease. The things that one of the things that we can note too is that if you look back at our country, the population in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, people got a lot more neat, a lot of more neat, non-exercise activity
Right.
thermogenesis,
Yes.
which
Yes.
helped keep the weight off. My
Yes.
grandfather was an immigrant. And he worked in a mill, picking rolls up, pushing
Mhm.
things, carrying things all day, 12-hour shifts. Okay. How many of us do that nowadays? Right. And
Well,
then you wonder. So, we sit, we get in a car, we drive, we
yes.
sit, we get to an office, we sit, we don't move enough. So what we have to do is, we don't have those rocks and so forth to pick up. What I tell people to do is hey, do 5 minute, 10-minute bouts of exercise.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know, but I have a book called Exercise Snacks, Fitness 5 minutes at a time, where you know what, you don't have to go crazy, go to a gym. I don't even go to a gym. I do all my
No,
stuff with
that's the
myself.
thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the term VILPA, VILPA?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Variable intensity lifestyle physical activity.
Yep. Yep.
There was a study done in Great Britain not so long ago that
Mhm.
looked at thousands of people, 25,000 people, I
Mhm.
think,
Mhm.
had a cohort in a database, and
Yeah.
they followed these people. It's not like HIT where you're doing high
Oh.
intensity training, but it's looking at in high intensity spurts during lifestyle. For example, walking up 5 flights of stairs, like I do every day to get to my office from downstairs at the university here, and my heart is beating a bit when I'm
Mhm.
up at the
Sure,
height. It's
sure.
100 and something steps. So that's a variable intensity lifestyle activity. So I walk stairs instead, and then I'm fine. And so they did this study. We're looking at people doing common day things at a little bit of intensity during short periods, and they found there was a 40% decrease in cancer-related deaths, 40% decrease in all-cause deaths, and they found there was a 50% decrease in cardiovascular deaths when they followed these people over years,
Yeah,
just from not going to the gym, but just from doing what you would do every day with a little bit of juice to it every
yeah,
now and then.
yeah.
That's all we really need.
Like, yeah,
And that
if
that's
you
it.
get 5 minutes of movement.
Yep.
Hi guys, this is George Corso, CSCS. I'm here to talk about the Back Better Bar. What I love about it is the versatility that you can get with your traveling wherever you go, whether it's in a plane, I can take it in a car with my clients, wherever. I have had a client who has not bought this yet, who has seen the wonders of it. Phil Ross also gives you great detailed explanation on certain exercises that you could do with this. I definitely recommend it for you. If you're a trainer, I recommend it for you and clients.
The Master Phil in Your Corner podcast is brought to you by philross.com, the home site of Master Phil Industries, books, presentations, virtual training, supplements, and products, including the Back Better Bar, strengthen your back and bulletproof your shoulders, the Body Bell Method, the world's only kettlebell, bodyweight, and dynamic tension system, providing continuing education credits for trainers, coaches, doctors of physical therapy, and chiropractors. Be sure to check out our new app, Masterfill Kettlebells, on the App Store. Thank you for your patronage. Greetings and welcome to another episode of Master Phil in Your Corner. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Sherry Kalbaum, and she is the author of The Truth About Seed Oils. She's authored some 35 other books. She has her master's in science in nutrition, and she's going to talk to us today about the dangers of seed oils and how we got to this point. Sherry, welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you for inviting me. I am very excited to talk with your audience about setting the record straight, right, on seed oils, also known as vegetable oils. There are no vegetables in these oils, but that was a good little marketing trick to get us to think, wow, these are natural and good for us. And they're anything but that.
Yeah, well, we all fell for it. We saw
We
the commercials, heart healthy, vegetable oils, good for you. This stuff is causing such inflammation, so many problems. We have more issues now, allergies, these autoimmune diseases. They seem to be running rampant in our society. People are overweight, eating heart healthy, and yet they can't shed a pound. Their hearts are getting clogged, the arteries are getting clogged, heart failure. I mean, you name it. We have all kinds of health issues, and it's got to be from this food that we're eating.
Oh, absolutely. In our new book, The Truth About Seed Oils, we have a chapter on the science linking seed oils to all these conditions like heart disease. Number one killer in America is heart disease, cancer, diabetes, metabolic issues,
Yes.
dementia, and Alzheimer's, because these are oxidized oils and the brain is most 60% fat. So what is happening to our brains? And then emotional issues linked directly to anxiety, depression, aggression, linked to skin issues like acne, eczema, psoriasis. It goes on and on and on because you just nailed it. They are inflammatory. They are inflammatory because of, first of all, how they're made. They're treated horribly. These seeds, these fats, mainly linoleic acid, are very fragile. They have double bonds. That's a chemistry little thing term, but they have double bonds.
Why,
And
why don't you explain the importance of a double bond? And
yes.
yeah, because I think people would like to know that because they hear this term, okay, double bond. All right, what does that mean? Why is it important? But I think it's really important for people to get to know that.
It is. So if you look it up online, the chemical structure of a polyunsaturated fatty acid, you'll see that it's different than a saturated fat. So a saturated fat will have a carbon and hydrogen lined up with
Mhm.
every bond.
Right.
You'll see a straight line and carbon hydrogens filling in everything. With a polyunsaturated fatty acid, which is what these seed oils are,
Mhm.
we have at least two double bonds where there's no carbon or hydrogen attached. They're just linked up. And you'll see two bonds. It's like an equal sign in the middle. Well, what does that mean for you and your health? It means these oils are fragile. Those bonds can be broken easily, which they are, because they're treated horribly. High heat to make the oil, 500 degrees usually is the temperature. And then they have all sorts of
We,
chemicals poured on
we
them.
roll that back for a second. Okay,
Yes.
so why do they need to apply this heat to these oils? I mean, look, when I have olive oil, right, or avocado oil, do they have to heat those up?
No.
Right.
So a lot of those are cold pressed or maybe expeller pressed with low heat, but they don't have to have this high heat. So why do they have the high heat? More efficient, get more oil out of those seeds. Everything is about money in the end, where everybody in corporate America is looking at the bottom line.
Right.
And so let's extract every drop of oil we can out of these fragile little seeds. And that's where hexane, a very toxic chemical, comes in. It helps to extract the last little drop of oil out of those seeds. And then we have neutralizers, deodorizers, and bleaching agents all poured on this oil. If you saw a picture, it would look disgusting. I call it the slurry.
Mm.
It just looks gross. And these oils actually, initially, when they were making them way back in the turn of the century before last, came out dark and smelly and looking awful. And you know what they were used for? Machinery, lubrication.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's what we're eating. Oil made for machinery, lubrication from waste. These seeds were piling up and it was waste.
Canola,
Yes.
canola oil.
Rapeseed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And canola oil is made from rapeseed, which is a big GMO crop. Genetically modified organism is what that stands for. And that makes it scarier yet, more toxic yet, because you don't just have the processing with all the heat
Mhm.
and the toxic chemicals, but you have a genetically modified seed. And so they've linked GMO to cancer, they've linked these chemicals to cancer, and they've linked these oils, seed oils. There are about 10 of them to cancer, along with all the other diseases that I've named. And here's another reason they cause inflammation. And this is the argument on the other side, and you may hear this.
Okay.
Well, these oils are rich in linoleic acid, omega-6 fatty acids. We all need that. It's good for us. That part is true. But the amount that we're getting them in and the way they're processed is not good for us. Our meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for most people in America are saturated with seed oils. Anything in a package from a restaurant, most restaurants are using seed oils. Anything from a fast food place soaked in seed oils, most undoubtedly because they're cheap and they're tasteless and odorless, easy to store. So manufacturers, restaurants are using them. And so if we rip open a package, we have a bagel. Even our plant-based milks, oftentimes oat milk or almond milk or soy milk, is going to have a seed oil in it.
Let's talk about those. These. I'm not a big fan of the almond milk, the oat milk. I'm lactose intolerant. I don't even drink milk. Or as Arnold Schwarzenegger said, milk is for baby men, drink beer in in the movie Pumping Iron. But so what, are any of those milks good? And if not, why are they bad?
Well, look on the label. There are many options out there. And if we get nothing else drilled home today, it's be good label readers, right? I shop with a magnifying glass that has a little light, or you can take a picture on your phone and blow it up because now they're getting smart and the labels are smaller and smaller print. But most of those milks, from almond milk, soy milk, and so forth, have additives added, emulsifiers or thickening
Yes.
agents, and maybe they also have seed oil. Not all of them do,
Mhm.
but many of them do. If you're going to have a plant-based milk, and my husband likes to put some in his coffee,
Mhm.
make your own. Why not? It is so easy and so fast, either with a nut milk maker, or there are a number of juicers out there. You just put the nuts and the water in it. It does the whole thing for you. And in a minute or two, you've got beautiful milk. There's one nut milk I really like, and that's walnut milk because it's very rich in omega 3s.
Walnuts, omega
Yeah,
3s, really.
we're so deficient in omega 3s as a society.
Mhm, mhm. Now, talking about omega 3s, what are some of your recommendations of that? I mean, I eat a lot of salmon, um, topwater fish. I also take Arctic krill oil. So,
Yes,
mhm,
so those are so good for you. And that's on the list of really good omega-3 fatty acids. And we need those. And I'm going to go with my list of these right into why we need them so badly.
yes,
We're overwhelmed with the omega-6s, but also flaxseed oil.
flaxseed's good.
I take a tablespoon of flaxseed oil or two every night before bed. And I was looking at my skin this morning saying, wow, it's got like a sheen, like a glow.
Yeah.
What is it? It's that I switched over to flaxseed
Wow.
oil recently, and I'm sure it is that.
Mhm.
But hemp seed oil, also rich in omega 3s, and black seed oil is another one that people like to take, and the walnuts and the walnut oil
Mhm.
that would only be cold use. You can't heat walnut oil. It's very, very fragile, but it's something that you can drizzle on a salad or put in a smoothie. But those are some of our best choices for omega-3 fatty acids. And why do you need to up that? Because the omega-6s are just surrounding us. They're in everything. And we're getting way too much omega-6 to omega-3. The ratio should be about 1 to 1 to 4 to 1 omega-6 to omega-3. And we are about 15 to 21 or 22 to 1 in America. Even people that are trying to eat healthy have been tested and said, I was off the charts. 21 to 1. It's like, oh my goodness. So why is that bad? It creates inflammation. We're back to inflammation once again. And it is inflammation that is fueling the fire on all these diseases. Is
Mhm.
heart disease getting better? No. It's still the number one killer. Is cancer getting better? No. It's still the number two killer. Obesity, way up there at the top of the list. Is it getting better? No. It's getting worse. 70% of our nation is either overweight or obese.
Yep.
We're on the wrong path.
Yep. We absolutely are. And, this problem is growing along with people's waistlines as well. So if you're talking about seed oils, you said that, yeah, we do need some omega 6.
Yeah.
How do people know, hey, what's a good seed oil for me to get? I know you mentioned flaxseed oil, but how do we get the good omega 6s into our system?
Yeah, so we want only cold pressed or expeller pressed oils. And so sesame seed oil is fine, get the cold pressed,
Mhm.
but also the good oils to cook with, olive oil. We just
Perfect.
talked about that earlier. And most of that is either cold pressed or expeller pressed. Extra virgin olive oil is what you want to get.
Glass bottle,
Avocado
right?
oil, pardon?
Glass bottle, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
always in a glass bottle, always dark.
Mhm.
And you'll see most of them are wherever you go, even the big box stores. Now, most of them are in dark glass bottles. That helps prevent us from getting a huge dose of microplastics in our system, which is a big problem today. Lots of people talking about that. Avocado oil is another good one. Coconut oil is another really good oil to cook with. Ghee, oil of butter. Some people call it oil of butter or clarified butter. That's a good one. And so those are your list of good oils to cook with. And then you want to be aware of smoke point. And I have a chart on smoke point and the truth about seed oils. Avocado oil is very durable. It's got a high smoke point. And if you're turning up that heat, that's probably a good choice for you, is to go with avocado oil. And medium kind of range of smoke point is olive oil and avocado oil, and the sesame oil is in that range too. Keep your heat a little lower. You don't want your oil to start smoking. How many times we put a little oil in a pan, you turn on your heat, you turn around to do something, and you come back and it's like, oh my gosh, it's smoking, it's like sizzling. Well, that's breaking down your oil and creating on the road to creating a toxic byproduct. And what happens when we heat these oils? We get carcinogenic, toxic, free radical byproducts like aldehydes and lipid peroxides. And it's these oxidized oils that are so bad for head to toe, arteries, everything. And what causes that plaque to form in the first place? It was that plaque that took us down this garden path. It's not a garden path at all.
Garbage
A path of life. Yeah. It was arteries irritated.
Yes.
That's what caused the plaque to form. And why did they get irritated? There are cardiologists now have written about this. Seed oils, sugar, and smoking all came on the scene about the same time, at late 40s, early 50s, and especially when coconut oil couldn't make it through the waters because of World War II. The seed oil industry was very small before that. As far as the refined oils that people were cooking with, coconut oil was the oil of choice, and it was marketed as the healthiest oil on earth, which is true. There's a lot of truth in that. But then the war came and the oils couldn't make it here. And so the seed oil companies really upped their production. The war ended. They weren't going to let go of that market share. That was good revenue. So slick ads, the new modern oil, odorless, tasteless, can sit on your shelf. You don't have to refrigerate it. What else showed up at the same time around the early 50s? Heart attack. You see the little bar graph before the war, and it's like heart attack. It's like here. You see it after in the early 50s. Now it's expanding. And what caused that? Irritated arteries. And one cardiologist said it in his autopsy work, it looked like somebody scrubbed those arteries with a wire brush, all irritated, red, not doing well. What forms over a wound? A scab or plaque, covers it up. And there we were. We started down that path. And then they analyzed, because of all these heart attacks, they analyzed the plaque. Oh, we found this plaque, and they analyzed it, and there was fat and cholesterol in there. There is. In scabs, there's fat and cholesterol. In plaque, there's fat and cholesterol. And they said it's got to be the fat and the cholesterol. Well, we've eaten fat and cholesterol for centuries. So there were a few sane voices that said, wait a minute, we've eaten this for centuries. People have eaten dairy, cheese, butter, eggs, red meat, cooked with tallow, cooked with lard. We didn't have this big problem. Why did it all of a sudden create a problem? And a few people said, we think it's the seed oils, but their voices were drowned out.
Right.
There wasn't big money behind to support them, and they got demeaned by their colleagues and kind of threatened professionally. Well, your papers won't get published if you keep on this vein of thought, or you won't get grants for your research. You won't be invited to prestigious conferences to speak. You'll just be shunned. You'll be ostracized. I've read numerous reports of scientists, physicists, doctors who have said they got pushed to the side by this demeaning because they weren't on the right side of where all the money was. So that is what led us to where we are today.
Yeah. I mean, something you brought up before is about it's about the mental health aspects. And from what I've read, that the gut is like your second brain.
Mm.
And if your gut is not healthy, that can have an extreme adverse effect on what's happening in your head. Have you found any truth to that or?
Yes, they call it the gut-brain connection for sure. And some people say the little brain is in the gut. It's a strong, there's a strong connection between the two and your gut health. Oh, well, it's important to everything. If we don't digest our food properly, if our gut is permeable, if we have irritable bowel syndrome or leaky gut syndrome, we're
Mhm.
going to have all sorts of issues. We can end up, just like you said, with brain issues and immune system problems. Good portion of our immune system is in the gut.
Yep.
So, gut health is extremely important. And we're back to seed oils. They aren't good for the gut health.
And I've heard now that there are some fast food restaurants shifting over to beef tallow. Um, uh, you know, is this because of the pressure it's being put on them? And do you know which ones have shifted or?
Yes, a couple of them. Steak and Shake has really been in the news. They shifted last January, I believe it was, to
Oh,
beef
wow.
tallow to cook their fries. And now they've shifted to grass-fed red meat. So that's another very positive, and that was just recent this year. I
Good.
believe Popeyes is using um, good oils, not the seed
Ah,
oils. I'm trying to go from memory, maybe Outback. So, if you Google this, which restaurants have
mhm.
gone to seed oil, not seed oils, but good oils, you'll find a list. You'll find a good list. And then you can get an app, and there's a free trial for Seed Oil Scout app.
Oh, wow.
And I even just go to my website if you want. It's easy to find. Just click on my book logo, and it'll take you right to the page, and you'll
Excellent.
see a little link for a free trial for Seed Oil Scout app, and it'll show you the restaurants in your area. So I loved it. When I pulled up mine, I got the little map and the little
Yeah.
bubbles,
Cool.
and I found all these restaurants all around my house, and one was our absolute favorite, 3 minutes from our house. So
Oh.
that's pretty cool. And it has a scanner. So you can scan any product, pick
Mhm.
up a box, a sack, or whatever at your store and scan it and find out what's in there. And if there's a seed oil or other things you
Mhm.
don't want to eat.
Wow. Are you familiar with the Yucca app at all? Right.
I've heard of it. Do they have the same thing?
Well, I don't. They what they do is I've actually been using it for almost 2 years now, and now I kind of have everything memorized. So when I go, I know what I'm looking for. But you can scan the barcode, and it will tell you, what is in this, and it'll give it a rating. And if it's a poor rating, it'll give you options, healthy options.
I
That's
love it.
free. I have
That's
all my students do it. Yeah,
yeah, that's so helpful. So
yeah.
that's great. We've got some options. I think there's a new one that just came out called Olive. So, there are lots of options out there now.
Yeah, a lot of people they hear the word saturated and unsaturated fats, and they kind of get confused, like which one's good? How can I tell the difference? What do you have to say to these people?
Well, saturated got such a bad rap. um, at the time when I was talking about when they were doing the research, trying to figure out why people were having heart attacks, and they found fat and cholesterol in the arteries,
Yep.
decided to blame it all on fat. And well, fat is saturated. And so, no saturated fat, the lipid hypothesis was born. And it isn't the saturated fat that is the villain. It's all this other stuff that is so bad for us. All not only seed oils, but sugar and all these chemicals, preservatives, junk food, refined foods, they're all so bad for us. It isn't the saturated fats. People ate saturated fats for centuries and didn't have a problem. It's we've deviated from whole foods. We've left the path of whole, live, pure, clean foods. Those are terms that people are throwing around a lot right now, but that is what's gotten us in so much trouble. And our path back to health is returning to more of an ancestral type of diet, real whole food without all the chemicals and processing. And that includes getting rid of the seed oils.
Yeah, yeah. So I've come from a Mediterranean background. My grandparents came over from the old country, and my grandfather always had his garden. They always used olive oil and vinegar and oregano and garlic and things like that. And I mean, I make my own uh, salad dressing every day. Just real simple. Either generally it's olive oil, but sometimes avocado.
Mhm.
Little red wine vinegar, put my spices on myself, and there you go.
Delicious.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
So easy and so much better for us.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to find good salad dressings. There are just a few out there that are made with olive oil and either red wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar, but not too many. I think Bragg's, well, I know Bragg's has one.
Bags
And,
is good stuff.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
theirs is good. And I think Paul Newman's Own has one
Okay. Yeah.
that
Okay.
is olive oil and vinegar. But
Nice.
there aren't many choices.
Yeah.
And so,
I just
make your
make it
own.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make
It's
your
just
own.
I find it a lot easier. Um, so now when we're looking at these uh products, these seed oil products, are there some that are worse than others? And how can we tell if they're cold pressed or made under the heated conditions? How can we tell that by picking something up?
It'll say if it's cold pressed, they're proud of it, right? And it costs them more. So they'll tell you if
Mhm.
it's cold pressed, or they'll tell you if it's expeller pressed. If it doesn't say anything, don't buy it for
Okay.
sure. The two worst villains I put at the top of the list are canola and soy oil, because those are the two biggest crops of GMO rapeseed, which is canola oil,
Mhm.
and soybean oil, and soybean products. Those are the two biggest crops in North America for GMO, and avoid them completely. You do not want those oils. Sadly, a lot of fast food restaurants use those two oils to cook like their French fries or their fried foods, from fried chicken and fish, the fish and chips,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
sorts of fried things. Those are the two top choices, probably because they are the cheapest and easy to access. These large chain restaurants want things that are easy to access, and
Mhm.
they have to order a couple years in advance, big drums of this stuff. So they want things that are cheap and easy to access. But boy, they're not cheap for us, and we pay a price. And this is another thing people ask me all the time. you know, I'm pinching my pennies, or I'm watching what I spend shopping, and why would I want to spend a little bit more to get a better oil or a better this or a better that? And I always say it's worth it. It's so worth it to spend a few more pennies here, because you pay big time at the back end. When you get sick, when your body breaks down, you're paying those copays. Maybe you're missing days of work that you don't get paid for. You're buying over-the-counter drugs. You're buying prescription drugs, and we're paying a whole lot more. Plus, you don't feel well.
Right.
Yeah, who wants to be sick?
No, I'll say pay me now or pay me later.
Hmm.
I view fitness as the same thing. You know, work out, do something, move your body. If you're going to invest that time, and like if you're going to invest the proper amount of money in getting good products into your system, you're going to avoid a lot of things down the line. So it's either pay me now or pay me later. So how do you want to live? Do you want to live better longer, or do you want to, suffer?
Yes, I say that too, always to audiences where I speak and in my books. People say, why to me, I don't care that I live to, old, really old, but you do care how you
Oh,
live
yeah,
today.
yeah.
How do you wake up in the morning? Do you feel well? Do you
Hmm.
have energy?
Hmm.
Do you have a clear brain, or are you fogged in?
Yeah.
Lots of people say that. Do you have pain? Lots of people tell me they get on the really great diet program and the pain goes away. And your sleep. Do you sleep well at night? Those things are extremely important. Do you have headaches?
Mhm.
Oftentimes people tell me they have headaches that just are plaguing them, migraine headaches. I had one young woman that got off seed oils as much as she possibly could, and her headaches went away and never came back.
I mean, are you living or existing? Is that what you want to do? Do you want to live or do you want to exist? And the thing is that you want to be able to do what you want to be able to do, and you want to move pain-free as much as possible. You want to have energy. You want to enjoy life. You don't want to just be miserable every day and every ache and pain, allergies, your head, your stomach, all these things are bothering you because of what you're putting in your system and what you're failing to put into your system. Now, is there any, because there are so many uh, these processed omega-6s in our diets, other than us watching them and purposely not putting them in, are there any other countermeasures other than jacking up the omega-3s, or is that basically the only countermeasure?
That's the best countermeasure I know, and wise shopping, and just doing your best to avoid. They call them the hateful eight plus two, or so forth, but avoiding those toxic oils as much as you can.
Yeah. Now, but what about, I know this may not have anything to do with your book, but what about, or maybe you address it, I'm sure you address it in one of your books, but how about alcohol consumption?
I do address that. Well, alcohol turns to sugar. And we've got a big sugar problem in North America. People are eating way too much sugar. So I always point out, not only read labels, do they put sugar in that product that you may never have dreamed there's sugar in there? But are you consuming sugar in areas that you know you're consuming, areas you don't know, and then doing things that turn to sugar quickly, like alcohol or refined grains,
Mhm.
white flour products. We don't think about that bagel that you're eating in the morning, or maybe that latte that you're getting with a little added flavor to it. On and on it goes. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most of us are getting way too much sugar, and alcohol turning to sugar. I'm just not a fan of it at all.
Yeah. And the other thing is that it is a toxin, and our body having to process all these other toxins that we have. Now you're just putting another stress on your liver and on the rest of your filtration systems.
Absolutely. More people are getting fatty liver today than ever, and they're not uh, anything more than maybe social drinker. Just, they have a little glass of wine here or there, but they're getting fatty liver. And why is that? It's all the sugar.
Yep.
Everything
Sure.
that we're packed with sugar.
Mhm. And then when you do drink, what do you crave? You crave more carbs, which
Yes, I
is,
love carbs,
I know, carbs.
sweet.
Yep. You get that craving for it, and then you want the more sugar and more sugar, and it's a spiraling downward process. And people say, "Oh, I want to enjoy myself." Well, but how are you enjoying yourself? There are other ways. Yeah.
There are, and you can have fun. I know, Phil, you would say that. I say that all the time. I have a great time, and I don't drink anything. And I go out with friends and I have a great time. So it starts here with
Mhm.
what we tell ourselves and what's fun and what brings enjoyment into our life.
Yeah.
And never miss a moment to enjoy your life and to have joy in the simple little things. But
Yeah.
you don't have to drink to have fun.
No, you don't. I mean, if you could add 99 times out of 100, I'll have a seltzer with a lime in it. I'm good
Yeah.
to go. Yeah. It's funny, it's about a month or so ago, I'd done a seminar, worked all day, and my wife's like, "Oh, just give yourself a drink." We went out to dinner. I had one drink, one. Didn't do anything to me. I drank two seltzers, two glasses of water. My sleep was horrific. I had terrible sleep that night. I'm
Mm.
like, I'm just not doing it anymore at all. There's no point to it. My body
Yeah.
doesn't like it anymore.
I hear you. And the cleaner your body gets, the more it talks to you. And it'll tell you, don't like this, not good, don't
Mhm.
do this anymore. And that happens to me, even though I don't drink any alcohol. Maybe I go out and eat a little something that I normally don't eat, and I don't sleep as well that night. And I don't wake up feeling as refreshed in the morning.
Oh,
And you say to yourself eventually, just like you did, it's not worth it.
not worth I don't want to. Well, why? Why? I don't act any different, and I certainly want to feel my best, and I want to get good sleep. I want to be refreshed because I have stuff to do. Like you,
Yeah,
you have stuff to do. Yeah,
the stuff.
yeah. So how can we get this word out more and more? I know. Look, I do think that there is a shift going on right now. I really believe it. from 10 years ago to now, like I even see sodas now, they're coming out with these seltzer options, which don't have all the garbage in them. One thing that does bother me a little bit is that they're saying, people are saying, oh gosh, the company, whether it's Mars or General, whoever it is, they're saying they're not putting this in there anymore. They're not putting this in there anymore. They're switching this. Oh, really? They didn't know it was bad before when I'm supposed to, congratulate them because they're doing the right thing finally. They've been poisoning us for decades. Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be happy with them. No, I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy at all. And, I think they should be held accountable. They've been poisoning us for decades.
Yes.
Why are people just say, oh, it's okay now? It's not okay.
It's not okay. But you know why they're making the changes? It's us.
Yep.
We're demanding better. And you're right, Phil. People are waking up all across America. And I'm very proud of our young people, Gen Zs. They seem to be waking up quite a bit. And in large numbers, because there's big dialogue going on like TikTok and Instagram about seed oils and about chemicals and glyphosate, that nasty pesticide that's very carcinogenic. Lots of conversations about dyes and preservatives and additives. We're on a better track, and manufacturers are only making the changes that you mentioned because they have to, because people are demanding it. And, I say vote with your wallet. As we speak with our dollars, they will step up and make changes, even at fast food restaurants or even your local restaurant. You can even, and here's something we can all do. If they serve you whipped up butter, whipped with seed oil, any fluffy butter is going to be whipped up with seed oil. Ask them if they have real butter that they can bring to your table. That's going to start a conversation going at a restaurant. But we can all do that anytime we see that whipped fluffy butter that has seed oil whipped with it. But, we can start asking at a restaurant, do you have a salad dressing made with just olive oil, not another oil? And as this conversation keeps going and we talk to our friends and family and neighbors and get awareness going, we're going to see more and more changes. And I was so encouraged the other day. I went to a health food store, well, the one I go to, my farmer's market one, and I don't buy chips very often, and I didn't buy them, but I saw all sorts of bags of chips. These made with beef tallow, these made with avocado oil, these made with olive oil. And I thought, yes, we're making progress. And I was at the big box store the other day and I saw avocado oil mayonnaise. I thought, all right, we're making some progress. Keep at it. Everybody keep at it. Keep voting with your dollar and keep asking for better products.
Absolutely. The things that, people want to be empowered. You can get empowered by doing this. Make these demands. Look, it's all supply and demand. Supply and demand. If you stop buying this stuff, they're going to stop making it. They're going to make something that they can make money at. And if we hold them to a standard, if we keep that pressure on, they're going to have no choice but to acquiesce.
Yeah. And we will see better products and we'll see better health. This is how we're going to change the health landscape in our country, is by better products, better choices, and more awareness, and people just shopping more wisely. I have a chapter in The Truth About Seed Oils on wise shopping with lots and lots of tips for you on how to make better choices each day. So I always say, clean out your pantry. If you want to use it up, go for it. Lots of people go, I've had it with this, out it goes, and I'm going for a better product. But let's make the choices and get our kitchens cleaned up, and then shop wisely. Learn how to read those labels and get an app that helps you out, and we'll be on a much better path.
Yeah, you know what? I have to thank you for doing what you do every day on a daily basis, getting the word out there with your books, your seminars, your workshops, your speaking engagements, because you know what? Like you said before, it's people like us that are doing this, and you got a great voice in this realm. And we have to just empower people and know that they can do it too. It just doesn't have to be us loudmouths. It can be them too. They can get out there and do it. And again, like I said, it's extremely empowering, and we need to just keep pushing that forward. Is there anything else that they can think to leave to resonate with the audience, or a course of action other than what we just said for them to adopt?
Well, get good recipes. That's an action that we can take every day. And I've got over 50 recipes in my book, but there are tons of recipes out there. Get great recipes, things you enjoy that incorporate good fats. And keep in mind, lots of people still are afraid of fat. Like, oh, I shouldn't be eating this, or just a little bit, or whatever. And about 30% of our diet should be good fats, good, healthy fats. Why is that? It brings satiety, a feeling of fullness, satisfaction, and we've been lacking that for decades. We came through the no fat, low fat decade, 80s, early 90s, well, late 70s,
Mhm.
and we got rid of all the fat that we could. You know, everybody's making their muffins with applesauce and not even a drop of oil in there. We got rid of the egg yolks and ended up with egg white injury. They call it, where the egg white without the yolk, it was finding the biotin. What a mess. And so, you know, we've been through these eras of this low fat, no fat craziness, no cholesterol, and we're far worse for it. We're far heavier as a society, and people are hungrier. And so we need the fat, and we need good recipes with good fat. And then we're going to conquer that issue of always being so hungry and getting into the kitchen an hour or two after dinner and saying, I still want something else. I'm still hungry. What is it? I
Yeah,
need something more.
yeah.
We need fat oftentimes.
Well, there's been so many studies done where they've taken children and had them eat a big thing of pancakes or bagels or something, and other ones eating some eggs and bacon. And the ones who ate the carbs were hungry within an hour or so, and the other ones were satiated much longer.
Oh, it is so true. And I think most days of my life, I'm also known as the juice lady. I have juice, and then I have a smoothie made with avocado and vegetable juices. So my smoothies are very different. They're
Wow.
not sweet.
Yeah.
And I put some chopped up nuts on top, like often walnuts for omega-3. I'll
Mhm.
tell you that lasts.
Yeah.
I am full. I don't need anything else
Mhm.
until maybe at lunchtime. And I often do a salad or um, some protein, or maybe I'll have an egg, but I'm full. I'm satisfied. Good
That's
fats from the avocado and the walnuts, and then all of the nutrients from the vegetable juices all blended up and delicious. And it's a truth in my life. I've seen it play out over and over again, and I know other people will if you give it a try.
yeah.
But you're right. All of those carbs, cereal, bagels, toast, and people are still hungry.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming on. And the book, The Truth About Seed Oils, is available on Amazon, I'm assuming, and everywhere
It
else.
is.
All right,
It's on
awesome.
Amazon, and you can visit me also at thetruthaboutseedoils.com and get some free gifts. Check it out.
Awesome.
Truthaboutseedoils.com.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Sherry. And thank you, audience, for listening. Strength and honor. Different periods of the day,
Yeah,
you're doing
that's
your
all.
body and your mind,
And your
because
mind.
as we have seen now,
Yep,
something that people used to look at me like I was a heretic, but
mm,
now we see that exercise and nutrition are 1.5 times more effective than therapy and drugs combined for mental health.
exactly. Exactly. And it goes back to our genetic makeup. Our musculature, our the hormones are released when we
Yes.
exercise.
Yep.
You know, our bones start to get rejuvenated. You
Yeah,
know, there's
they layer
recalcification
up.
and
So yeah.
strengthening.
Yep.
And the opposite happens when they're not used. But you get you get the juice when you
Yes.
exercise. It comes from your brain
Yep.
because it's a part of our makeup.
Yep.
And you get it from people. When you're with people that lift you up all the time and you lift them up and you're with a community, you get that sense of that hormone release and that's the happy hormones that
Yeah.
make us feel good and that
Hmm.
drive us forward.
Yep.
And we seek those things in the wrong in our society. We seek them in not, not in a face-to-face touch, hug, type of a thing. We look at a device and we think we're communicating. We think we're bonding and connecting. and it's not the same, but we get dopamine from that, and
That's another thing.
it's bad, you
Yeah,
know?
I want to get into that too, but I want to get into something else you brought up. We were designed, if you look at the human form has not changed much in the past 250,000 years. Okay.
Nope.
And if you look at what our ancestors faced, like saber-toothed tigers, cave
Exactly
bears, running after a wildebeest, whatever it was,
what it was, yeah.
the adrenaline that release, that fight, flight, freeze, whatever, we had to deal with it. And the fact that we don't have that on a daily basis, people wind up creating that in their own minds. And this is when you get those anxiety and
That's
depression and things
and
like that.
that's our society today. So we were designed for spurts of fear and spurts
Yes.
of the heavens are coming down and the thunder and lightning, and you feel all this, and but then the body can relax because the hormones are taken away and they're
Right.
released. And you have here in our society, you wake up in the morning and you got to deal with screaming kids, and then you go to work and you got a screaming boss and you got screaming clients and everything else, and you're stressed and you have deadlines, and then you're driving and the guy next to you is cutting you off, and you're yelling at him and screaming, and you're drinking your coffee, and then you get home and your wife says, hit the kids because do this to them, yell at them and do this. And I said,
You're definitely brought up in an
I just
Italian family with
I
hit the
just got
kid.
home. Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't do that anymore, but
No.
I actually 40 years ago it was like discipline those kids, give them a
Yeah.
little wallop on their butt, and so it's like I just got home. I don't know what they did, but the stress and
Boom,
we
boom,
weren't
boom, boom,
designed.
boom.
We weren't designed for chronic stress. We were designed
Yeah.
with spurts and no stress.
Yeah.
And now that our body breaks down, we
Yeah.
we can't handle those levels of bad hormones in our body.
No, and think about this. Think about this, what these SSRIs do, the selective serotonin
Hmm.
reuptake inhibitors and other uh, you know, psychotropic drugs. They
Yep.
try to make you even keel,
Yep.
which we're not supposed to be.
No.
Nothing in nature is
No.
flat. If you flatline, you're dead.
Yeah.
Okay. You look at the ocean, the waves. Look at the
Yep.
mountain range, right?
Yep.
Everything. It's ebb and flow, peaks and valleys. You have to be able to handle it. We're designed to handle it if we're operating properly.
Yes.
And how do we achieve that? Through exercise, through the proper mental acuity. Like here,
Yes.
you brought something up very important, the community. Having
Yes.
that community around you, behind you, with you, having those relationships is extremely beneficial. That's
It's
why when you look at
extremely
somebody, yeah, we're not meant to sit there and stare on a phone. And that's why COVID wound up really
flatlining a lot of people.
wrecking
Yeah, for sure.
wrecking a generation of
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we got
Because
to fix it.
there's so many studies you could get scientific, you could look, it's not just conjecture.
Yeah.
An animal that's brought up, a monkey that's brought up without its mother and without people and not people, but without
Yep.
its surrounding,
It's fine. Yeah.
grows up cuckoo.
Mhm.
They grow up not well. They can't deal with other chimpanzees and monkeys.
Yeah.
People that are isolated in orphanages, and there's studies that have been done, they are socially incapable, and mentally takes its toll. We need people from birth through death because we all have our expiration date no matter what we do and try.
Yep.
But the support of people is what keeps, actually, studies show this too, that keeps people in the blue zones living longer, is that they don't have to sit alone in a house staring at a TV or looking out a window,
Mhm.
and wondering what's going to happen and who's going to help them. They have people around them that are lifting them all the time, and they know they got my back. And so that extends life.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's all it seems so simple, and it is simple, but our life, our modern society has gone in a completely opposite direction.
Well, like I always say, some things are simple, but they're not easy.
No, they're not easy. You're
Yeah,
right.
it's simple, but it's not easy. So how do we make it easier? What do you think? What are some of the steps that people can take in their life on a daily basis to make it easier, make it part of that lifestyle change. And the things that what I see, sometimes I see people when they fail miserably because they try to change everything in one day.
That's it.
It's not going to happen.
No, it isn't. The old saying is, life is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
No.
It's a long race, and you're going to feel kind of crappy along the way, and then you're going to get your second breath, and you're going to keep moving.
Yeah.
So you pick, and I say you want to lose weight. Say that's the thing. So get motivated. And I'm going to do this. I made my resolution. I'm going to do this. And you do it for 3 days and you feel lousy because you're changing things. And you look in the mirror and it's the same person staring back at you after 3 days. You say, this is hard. You do it 4 more days, but the motivation goes away. It can't
Yeah.
be motivation that stirs you. It has to be little steps. And that's the thing. Take step by step. I read somewhere you make a 1% change, in a timely way. In a while, that 1% is going to add up to a lot. So your goals you know, have to be really refined to achievable things that you can do. So that's the first step. So if you want to lose weight, the goals have to be within reach, within range, where
Well,
you can see changes.
yeah, that's what I want to ask you about two different things. One of them is, the application of SMART goals, which are
Hmm.
specific, measurable, attainable, relevant,
Right.
time-based. And then, of course,
Yeah.
you have the SMARTer goals, which you evaluate and reassign. And then I came up with this term. Um, I call it the 90 days of suck. So
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
you want to exact a change.
Yeah.
It takes 90 days for you to exact a change. So, if you try it 3 days or 3 weeks or whatever, it doesn't work, it's probably not going to. You're not going to be able to
No,
notice anything. But if you do
no.
stick with something for 90 days, you created a habit. Could be a good one, could be a bad one, but you create a habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think you think that would be good for?
That's exactly, I use the SMART principle all the time. And,
Yeah.
and when I'm teaching and lecturing and talking to
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
the goals have to be congruous with what's inside of you. So,
Yes.
incongruity is I want to lose weight and I
Hmm.
want to eat my ice cream at the same time. It is not a congruence there. I want to be a millionaire, but I want to spend all the money that I make in my paycheck. They're not congruous. So
No.
your goals have to be congruous with yourself too, with your time. Can you give
Yes.
give your time? What about your family? Do they want you to lose weight? Do they want to change the diet? There's a lot of considerations to go through, but you make the changes that you can do in a measurable way. So
Mhm.
make it measurable, and that's what I did. When I set goals, I make very concrete goals, specific goals with a timeline, but steps along the way to get there. So I have my master goal, my big goal. I want
Right.
to
Right.
lose
Right.
30
Yeah.
pounds. It's what I did in the beginning,
Right.
but I'm going to do it by losing a couple of pounds a week or a couple, and I'm going to do that for me, it was reducing my carbohydrate content significantly in the beginning and then making it a manageable because it's not sustainable.
No.
For me, it's not sustainable
No.
to not have carbs, especially
It's
for
not
an
sustainable.
Italian who needs
It's not
pasta.
healthy.
You can't
No.
sustain
No.
that. So,
It's in our DNA. We got to eat.
so, so, it, so that's the way that I would approach it to make it, have a goal, set your eye on it, live it, feel it, picture yourself that 30 pounds or whatever it is less. But now you have to live through a week. You have to live through a second week, the third week, and make the goals very measurable within
Mhm.
the sub goals there.
Yeah.
And I find for me, at least my personality, it's an easier way to
Mhm.
do. Everybody's different. Some people have to dip their toe in the pool, some people have to dive in.
Yeah.
I, whatever, whatever works, but
Yeah, well, you bring up some good points. You have to do things incrementally because sometimes if you look at the totality of a situation like, "Oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. That's
no,
huge. How can I save $1 million? How can I lose 50 pounds? You know what though? But I say, well, how do you eat an elephant? One
yeah,
bite at a
one
time.
bite at a time. That's
That's
all.
it. So, chunk it,
Yeah,
uh, take little steps, celebrate your little victories.
yes, yes.
Now let me tell you something. We talked about community before, family and community, and helping you achieve these goals. Do you employ like an accountability buddy, or do you have somebody that
No,
works with you, or
for
somebody you
myself,
talk with?
no, but many people they require that, and that's part of, you could view that as part of community. It's part of having someone to mirror you, to be your mirror, because sometimes we lie to ourselves when we look in the mirror.
Oh,
You know, you know,
we're most likely to lie to ourselves than anybody.
yeah, and but someone else, if they have your permission, if someone has my permission,
Mhm.
which I think is important with accountability,
Yes.
you have my permission to tell me, don't mince the words. Tell me when I'm not being accountable.
Right.
Let me know that, because I'm really serious about this. And that's my pact with you. So accountability buddies are very important for all aspects. When you working out, like if you're doing a formal workout, if my mindset is movement, move everywhere, anywhere, all the time, whether it's
Mhm.
dancing in the kitchen, but also there must be something that you do to really flex those muscles at some point. And if it's going to a gym for you, that's fine. If you have a set of weights under your bed, pick them up and use them. I don't care. But going to a gym, as an example, do it with someone, because that's a social event also. So
Right.
you're getting the community, and you're
Mhm.
getting a lot of things there, and you have someone to help you with accountability. So I think in all aspects, you have to be open and have someone helping you, because there's
Right.
nothing the matter with help.
Yeah, when I was in college, we had the team when we worked out
Right,
together.
right.
And then after I was done with my competitive college athletics, and I had my lifting, my martial arts partner, our
Mhm.
martial arts school, things like that. I had people that I trained with, so you're accountable. Because listen, you're not going to be motivated every day.
Nope.
You're just not.
Nope.
You have to have something that's going to be. I always say motivation is fleeting, but you need to find your driver. What is a driver? What's that thing that intrinsic thing that propels you forward? So how do do you how do you recommend people find that intrinsic drive?
Well, uh,
It's a hard
I,
one.
it is a hard one. And I think people can have, if they view it as they have many drives. I think everybody
You
has,
can have one.
I call it your magnificent obsession. Everybody
Right.
has a magnificent obsession residing inside them.
Yeah.
And once, if your work and your magnificent obsession are the same, you are a blessed person. You are in heaven,
Yep.
because you're doing what you love.
Mhm.
But somewhere in your life, you have to have that. Now, you can have several, and that's a driver, because
Mhm.
if your
Mhm.
obsession is to, travel the world, if
Right.
that's your magnificent, and that's a driver, because what you do goes towards that. But
Mhm.
you can have many different drivers, and so you could have drivers or obsessions, or visions towards something in each of the areas. I call them pillars of health.
Yeah.
Of nutrition is one pillar.
Right.
And maybe your driver is, your vanity. You're looking in the mirror and seeing a body that's toned and in good shape.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think we fool ourselves, because that isn't health. You could be as toned and buffed and everything and not be a healthy person.
Right.
So that's a fool. That's a like a fooling way of thinking you're healthy. But again, as an example, if that's your driver, then that's great. If your driver is counting things and the metrics of things and looking at your watch,
Mhm.
whatever works. There's something that can help motivate you.
Mhm.
Um, for me, it's the idea of just incrementally. When I go to bed at night, I want to be better than I was when I woke up in the morning. I want to have improved somewhere in different areas, and whether it's in my intellect, whether it's in what I've done for my body.
You're bringing up an incredibly important point here. It's called intent. You're trying to get better. Just think about how exciting it is if you know that every time you're doing a workout, every time you're doing teaching a class, leading a lecture, whatever it is, making sauce, okay, you're or gravy, whatever you call it, you're making
Thoughts.
it sauce. I know I do sauce too. You're making it better than you did. To me, gravy's brown. Okay, but that's just me.
Me too.
Yeah. So, um, you're making it better than it was the time before. Like, how can you do a better rep? How can you
Mhm.
present a better lecture? How can you teach a better class? How can you make this patient healthier? These are all the things. How can we do better? Now, things, if you're looking at this and you're a person trying to achieve something, accomplish something, and you know that you have an opportunity to get better. It's not a task, it's an opportunity to get better. If you frame it like that in your head, I think it's going to help people a lot more.
Yeah, and it, it is just it's the way you can look at things two ways. When
Hmm?
say you muff up one day and you just didn't do, but I look at it, I could get depressed and say, oh man, I'm a failure. I really screwed that up. And or you could say, you know what? This is what I did, but I didn't have to, I really can do it this way. And I can learn from that experience.
Hmm?
That's how I work with my students. My students here are
Hmm?
they're learning to be dentists. They're in
Yeah,
there. I'm working with seniors and sometimes they're really discouraged by an outcome. They didn't do it as great as they could, or they just feel that they're never going to get this. And I say, look, learn from what you did.
right.
Learn from it so that tomorrow you learned a great lesson today. Tomorrow you're going to be better.
Yeah,
And we say all the time, they say the practice of medicine, the practice of dentistry, it's practice because we're not practicing on people, but every time we do something, we're looking to improve and to go the
right.
next level.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
if people get too hung up on that, then they're going to be afraid of failing. It's going to hold them back. And you
exactly.
can't be afraid of failure. You're
No.
going to mess up. Look, here, I have this pencil. What's on the other end? An eraser. Why?
There you go. That's
Right?
it.
We mess up,
Because because you
right?
mess up. Yeah,
We
that's
mess up.
exactly
You
right.
erase it. Start over,
Yeah,
right? So that's great. So
that
now,
is the key. There's a Japanese saying concept called ikigai, which is, incrementally improve on a regular basis. And that's really the lesson. Just look to be just a 0.5%, 1% better.
yeah,
If you could do two push-ups, great. Next week do three.
yeah,
And next week do four. And next
right.
week do eight. And pretty soon after a few months, you're gonna look at your arms and say, holy moly, I did something. And I could
Well,
do, I could do, and that's the way that it is with every aspect. You don't have any friends? Go find one. Go to Starbucks, go sit down, go be crazy person and go talk to the wall and go talk and you'll get a friend. And then you get another friend, and then you have a community of people.
right.
It's everything that we do.
Join a group, a church, or
Exactly.
whatever. Do something.
Exactly.
You're talking about the push-ups. Just to let you know, I'm involved in something right now. Um, it's we know it's the 25th anniversary of 9/11.
Yes. And I
Coming
see your
up.
shirt.
Yeah, yeah, I got my Tunnels to Tower
There you go.
shirt on. I'm actually doing a big fundraiser for them.
Okay.
So
Well,
what
great.
I'm doing 1,000 push-ups a day for 25 days.
1,000 a day.
1,000 a day.
Wow.
I'm doing sets of 250,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm doing live feeds on all of them. I did my first one. I do Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And I
Amazing.
do live streams on them, and getting donations. And if somebody has a company or whatever, Today's companies don't need another motivational talk that sounds good in the room and disappears by Monday. They need immediately executable takeaways, practical, life-improving skills employees can use right away to reduce stress, move better, and perform better at work and at home. That's where I come in. My name is Phil Ross. As a respected wellness, fitness, and injury prevention expert, my offerings bring a powerful corporate wellness approach built around 3 core solutions: the Body Bell Method, the Get Off Your Back program with the Back Better Bar, and Survival Strong. These are proven methods. Together, they help support better workplace well-being, improved work-life balance, and increased productivity by giving teams tools they can actually apply. This is not just inspiration, it's wellness people can use. If they get 500, I mention that company all day. So it's
That's pretty amazing. Pretty
yeah,
amazing.
thanks. Well, I'm also a 9/11 survivor. So
Oh, where were you at the time?
well, my office was on the 25th floor of Tower 2.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, but I was lucky. God smiled on me that day because I won a big sales contest and I was at an event the night before that wound up going very late. My
Oh my
boss said,
God.
my boss said we had an 8:30 meeting. She said, come in after, do the first meeting on the phone, get an extra hour of sleep.
Oh my gosh.
So I was watching, I saw from the window across the river,
Yeah.
I saw the second plane hit. Is
Oh
there
my gosh.
Oh yeah, they're like, "Hey Phil, what's going on?" There's like the smoke coming out of the tower. So I'm looking, I'm like, it looks like some idiot hit the tower with a piper. Gene, as soon as I said that, I saw the second
Second
plane
one.
hit. And I'm like, get out of there.
Well,
Crazy.
I was on the demort on the dental identification team of doing forensic dentistry, and I was called
Oh,
down to the area, and we identified a number of we were
oh,
down at the morgue and
oh.
down at the site, and it was something you never forget. You
No,
know,
I'm getting my goosebumps
yeah,
again.
I know, I know.
And,
Well, yeah,
and
God was smiling. You're right.
yep,
That's
God was smiling at me.
something.
And I took my two older kids, I took them to my office on 8/11/2001.
Okay.
I took them to the observation deck that day. So a month to the day before.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Crazy, right? So it's all about timing. All about timing. So now you've written 8 books?
I've written a number of, yeah, well, I have 3 books. I self-published
Uh-huh.
a number of books, and then what I did was took 3 of them out of publication because there was a publisher that loved the concepts of these 3 books, and so I reworked the books, retitled them, and they're actually ready to be published. They're in the printer right now.
Cool.
They're New York City publishers, going to be publishing them as a set. One is Italian Longevity Secret. It talks about what it is that makes Italy uh, healthy. What do they do different? So I look at that and make it practical for people,
Mhm.
whether you're not Italian, whether or not you are Italian. Then another book is Living Longer, Living Better, which I look at the pillars and the things that we each have to do, the foundation and the actions that we have to do to live a long and vital life.
Yeah.
And the third one looks at the science of longevity from a more didactic, scientific sort of point of view, and looks at the scientific. It's called The Forever Human. So that's where, right now I'm writing a book called The Longevity Paradox, which looks at um, there's a big disparity between all of the knowledge we have of longevity and health, but our society is the sickest that it's ever been in the world. So why is this chasm? And I'm looking at that and trying to make sense of it. So I love writing. I do a little bit every morning. I get up a little early and I write a little bit and I get things done, and it keeps my mind active.
Absolutely. It's a great thing to do. Like I've published 5 books, and
Amazing.
I've contributed to another one, and now I'm contributing to another one, and then I'm working on another one.
It's a
My
blast.
my last one was Managing Back Pain for Dummies. I wrote a book for the Dummy series. Uh,
Oh, did you really?
yeah, yeah,
Great. Oh, that's great. I
yeah.
gotta get it.
It's
Gotta look it
yeah,
up.
it's I'll tell you the things that one of the things that attracted me to you was the fact that my saying for my body bell method is live better longer.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
that's what we like to do. We like to help people live better longer. So you see that on
Yeah.
my tagline, and you're
I
doing
didn't steal it from you.
no, it's all right. No. No, you phrase it a little differently, but I mean it's it's something that is in everyone's reach.
Yeah.
It's just that people don't realize it, and like you said, you make these little changes. You don't have to go and jump in the pool. You can stick your toe
No.
in, but make these little changes. Things go in increments. That's going to last longer for you. It's going to be more effective.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, there's an effect as to what age you enter this change, but it really does. Yeah, I don't care if you're 40 years old, 50 years old, 60
Mhm.
years old, you're going to reap a benefit from it. It'd
Yeah,
be great if every 20-year-old stopped eating all the hot dogs and hamburgers and the junk food and the
yeah,
packaged food. They'd be so much better off.
yep,
But enter, just make the changes wherever you are, little by little, one step at a time. And that's the key.
yeah.
That's really the key.
You'll be better for it at no
You'll be
matter
better
what.
for it. Yes, yes.
I teach health in college,
Mhm.
but I work with the high school kids too. So
Okay.
we have a high school that goes to our college, basically on campus, and I get a lot of the high school kids, um, and I just try to impress this stuff on them the whole time about exercise, nutrition, mental health. we have segments on all that. I teach the beginner, the freshmen, and I teach the seniors as well. It's our obligation.
It is an obligation. And what's more powerful than the words are the example. If they
Mhm.
see, you can't scold a person or lecture a person into health, but you can share your views and be a shining light,
Yes.
and they'll follow the light, they'll follow it,
Oh
they'll
yeah.
see it, and
Well,
they'll want to emulate you. And that's the secret.
exactly. And the thing is, you have to walk the talk. You know,
Exactly.
too many people
Exactly.
say, yeah, yeah, oh, just listen to me. No, no, no. You have to embody that. You have to embrace that.
Yeah,
I'm never going to expect someone to do something I'm not doing.
exactly.
I'll tell you one thing that I've really given up is alcohol.
100%.
People say, back, look, my grandfather lived to 94. Only thing that killed him, he fell down the stairs. But, he used to have his wine every day, but he'd have his, one or two glasses of wine. That
Mhm.
was it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even do that anymore. I mean, it's a toxin. It's a
It
toxin.
it it is. It is. Yeah, I look at the blue, 4 of the 5 blue zones. Alcohol is a part of
Yeah.
daily life.
Yeah.
In Italy, as a kid,
Oh,
you're
I
gonna
know.
get a
Yeah.
little tinge of, and so I do my 2 glasses a day. I don't mind that, but I do see the other side of the coin, and there is a lot of evidence that alcohol itself is toxic. Forget about the high amounts of alcohol.
Right.
There's some data that shows in smaller amounts it is,
Well,
and it's important.
yeah. Well, what I've found out too through further study, because as you said, the most recent data is showing that alcohol, no matter what, is a toxin. And can we process toxins? Absolutely. But the only thing is that what happens in the liver is that the liver will take care of that toxin before it does its normal functions. That's why people get a fatty liver from drinking. Now, how much? Look, I think that I say everybody is different and every body is different. So some people can handle more than others. But the thing is, gosh, I've been going so clean right now. I had one bourbon, right? Just bourbon with
It
water.
probably knocked you out your.
No, no, I can process it very good. Didn't
Okay.
even do anything to me. But I woke up middle of the night, got sick.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, you know what?
It, it is a definite change.
Yeah,
And I went part of my initial detox period.
yeah,
I didn't call it that at the time, but that's actually what I was doing. There was no alcohol, there was no carbs, there was no
yeah.
no no it was a part of the whole thing.
Mhm.
And your body does sense the change. Your body knows the difference. And there's a reacclimation to things when you introduce them.
Yes,
And your body knows if you're eating properly. Your body knows when you have processed foods, when you don't have them.
yes.
Your body, sugar. If I'm not a Nazi when I go to
Yeah,
birthday parties and stuff.
right,
I'll
right, right.
I'll be social and I'll have a little piece of cake or whatever.
Right.
But I
Whatever.
don't like it. I
No,
taste it.
yeah,
I think, oh, this is
yeah,
gross. This is
yeah.
too sweet.
I know.
And your body does normalize, and that's really what we need to do
Yeah.
at every level. We need to let it be what it's supposed to be, what it wants to
Mhm.
be, instead of forcing it to accommodate to what our part of the brain is saying, this is what I want to do right now.
I'll tell you though, I would be hard pressed to turn down a good cannoli. So it's gonna be
Well,
tough. It's gonna be tough. I gotta be straight with you. But other than that, I'm really not going to go and put the sweets in. One thing that I put in my head is I say, oh gosh, if I'm eating this, is it going to help me be stronger? Is it going to
yeah,
help me be healthier? And then you say, well, it's not,
yeah.
and then you try to move on. It's all about framing it. So now do you teach in college and you're teaching dentistry and
Dentistry, yeah.
do you,
Yeah.
do you teach any health classes as well, or do you just
I give
lectures?
lectures on it. But not, no, no, no. I'm mostly doing clinical work, and my lectures are dealing with clinical aspects of dentistry, and also of future dentists. What they need to
Yeah.
expect, what they need to do. But health is special lectures that I just gave one last week,
Oh, excellent.
basically on this topic to the second year students. I'm doing a research paper. I just got approval from the university to do it,
Great.
where I'll be interviewing and looking at the health habits of dental students. and no study has really been done.
Uh-huh.
And to see where they are and to look at changes that can be done and to then I'm going to expand it to faculty and expand it to different universities. So I'd be
Wow.
interested to see where these 28-year-old, 26-year-old people, how they are dealing, what stress levels they have, and what eating habits they have, and
Yeah.
what they
Yeah.
think of their health and what they're dealing with health at this age. Because we're getting unhealthy. Our society is just progressively becoming pretty sick, and
Yeah.
it to me it's sickening.
Yes.
I,
Yes. Yeah.
I went to the airport here in New Orleans. I was flying to New York,
Mhm.
and there were 12 wheelchairs waiting to get on the plane. And it's bad enough when there's one or two for time. And so I was thinking, first I thought, oh God, this is going to take forever. But then I thought, these people, they're all obese. Not all are old. They're 50, 60, 70, and they got breathing cannulas and what has happened to our health? What is going on? And they're gonna live, they'll be pushed along to live and but that's not life,
No.
and that's what we're become.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
It's a daily decision. Like one of my mini books is Strength is a Daily Decision. This
Yeah,
is a decision that you make every day. And the mind controls the body. Look, if you walk into the house and
yep,
there's a remote and a bag of chips, and you sit down, flip on the TV, press the remote, and eat the chips. You did it because the mind told you to. Now, if you walk in the house, and say, "Hey, I'm going to bang out some push-ups and some sit-ups,"
right.
body will do that. So
Yeah,
you're in control of that.
you are in control.
Yeah.
And and the realization for me was what gets in the way of it is what I spoke of before. We're wired to want that immediate gratification, not the hard work. We're not so we'll say, and we have to develop the habits and the step-by-step way of going in the other direction to change our mindset. So that's what we crave and desire. And
Yes.
that's doable. Takes a
Yeah.
little bit of time, but it's doable.
Yes. But it's definitely doable. Awesome.
Yep.
So how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. My name, Eugene, with an underscore Antonucci.
Hmm.
And you just Google me, you'll see all the stuff. And I'm also on LinkedIn, Eugene Antonucci, and my website is drgene, dot life. Oh, dot health. I'm sorry. I have two, but use the dot health, drgene.health.
.com.
And it has a lot of blogs on it, lots of videos, a
Mhm.
lot of the information that we're really speaking about now. And my books will be out soon, and that's through my website. You'll see when the coming out party is and
Excellent.
all that kind of stuff.
Excellent. What I'll do is I'll put all this information in the description of the podcast.
I'll send you a little. I'll
Yeah,
send you a little.
send me the direct links and
Yeah,
I'll insert them in.
good
Well,
deal.
I'll tell you, it was a distinct pleasure having you on here.
Me too. I wish I was right there to shake your hand and
Yeah.
have a cup
Well,
of a cup of espresso or something.
that's it. Oh, now we're talking. All right, well, thank you very much,
My
Gene. Been a
pleasure.
pleasure. Strength and honor.
There you go. And thanks for everything that you did, and God bless that, your work you're doing. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you.